Welcome back. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, as promised, we have Amnish Aggarwal, Director Institutional Research at PL Capital, who joins us on the show. Hi, Amnish. Thanks a lot for joining in. Well, I think the stock of the day could probably be GE T&D Vernova. They've gone ahead. They've won a large HVDC order. I think your analyst tracks Siemens, Hitachi, as well as GE T&D, if I'm not mistaken. Your view on the stock and what could it mean for some of these stocks like Hitachi, which has done very, very well. They have won a last couple of HVDC orders, but suddenly, you have GE T&D who's coming in.
Yeah. There are only a handful of players. For example, these three players are there. Am I audible?
Not really. I'll tell you what, we'll just get that fixed, Amnish. And then, in fact, we'll come back to you with regard to that. But that's going to be practically one of the stocks of the day, GE T&D. Let me just check whether we have... Let's see what the stock actually has done in the last 14 days or so. In fact, it's up 6.5%. There was a bit of a sniff that they could possibly be in the racing to get this particular order. And that's precisely the way it's, played out. And Nuvama says that, on a base of around 13,000 crores, they are going to be potentially adding close to 8 to 10,000 crores. They're waiting for official confirmation on that front. So that's the kind of magnitude of the order win.
The EPS growth, Nuvama estimates is 41% over FY25
with this order or without?
I think with the... Actually, I'm not sure.
I think it's they're waiting to revise their estimates is what I read last. But let's get Amnish back on the show. Amnish, GE Vernova T&D, that could possibly be the stock of the day. I think you all track even the others, Hitachi as well as Siemens. So what does it mean for the company and what does it mean for some of its peers?
Hi, Nigel. So on the HVDC space, there are a very handful of players. So you have got your GE Vernova is there, Hitachi is there, Siemens Energy is there, and maybe possibly BHEL is also operating in this area. Now, if you look at this order win by GE Vernova, I think this is very significant for the company. And this is definitely a positive. It might be executed over the next 2 to 3 years. So the top line and bottom line push will definitely come. But having said that, if you look at the estimates of the analysts, I think a lot of these orders, they are already built in. So in terms of estimate change, yes, there might be some bit of an estimate change. But having said that, if you look at all these companies, they are trading anyway, even on FY28, closer to maybe 60 times. So the incremental increase in the stock prices just because of getting these orders, I think a lot of it is already built in. However, the visibility for the next 2 to 3 years for many of these names, particularly GE Vernova as well as Hitachi, it remains pretty strong.
Got that. So the stock perhaps is already re-rated, trading at 60 times forward multiple, but incrementally it's doing well because of the kind of order wins that we're seeing. Amnish, thoughts on Varun Beverages? They made a small acquisition which further increases their presence in South Africa. And I was just going through it. Now, while the company doesn't break up the domestic versus international exposure, I think rough analyst estimates are 80-20. 80% comes from India, balanced 20% from the international markets. And Indian market volume growth this year, at least, and Varun Beverages follows a calendar year, has been on the flatter side due to erratic weather movement, while international volume growth has been strong. So the company is making another step to increase its, diversify and increase its international exposure. Your thoughts on Varun Beverages and the acquisition?
You see, as far as your acquisition is concerned, I think they are gradually building up and expanding their base in Africa, which is positive for them. That is one. Now, on the other side, if you look at the domestic business, as you said, is around 80%. But last year, it has not been very good because they have a December year end. So my sense is that if you take a longer-term viewpoint, the kind of growth they have seen in the past few years, that is unlikely to be repeated. That is one. While on the other hand, the stock has corrected significantly from the 650 levels to the current level, the risk reward for them remains relatively on the favorable side. Now, if the current upcoming summer season pans out well, because for them actually 1Q and 2Q are really big quarters. If the summer pans out well in the coming year, which is your CY26, the stock has the potential to give reasonably good returns from the current levels.
Amnish, what's your sense? Shriram Finance, more to go on the upside?
You see, in the near term, slightly difficult to say because the stock has already seen an uptick in the recent past in the anticipation of this deal happening. However, with the capital adequacy moving up, with the MUFG now coming on table, I think the rating upgrade will happen and the cost of funds for the company is likely to come down. Now, in that context, I think the valuations relative to some of the other NBFCs, they are still not still that expensive. So I believe from the current 1.9 over a period of time, we will see re-rating happening for this stock. Maybe even if you presume 2.4, 2.5 over a period of time, then the stock will give you these reasonably good returns. So difficult to say what happens in the next 15 days or a month, but if you take, say, a couple of years viewpoint, I think the stock looks good from the current level and one should accumulate on any decline.
Amnish Aggarwal of PL Capital is also with us on the show. So, Amnish, you give us 1-2 big ideas for 2026.
As far as the major ideas are concerned, I think one stock where we have been consistently positive from the past few quarters is Britannia Industries, where I think the momentum is on their side. They will benefit from GST. The raw material and all the pricing pressures are also over, and I see this company giving you 15 to 18% kind of a PAT CAGR over the next couple of years. So the stock is not at the bottom, but I think it still has got a lot of momentum, and there is a scope to make, say, around 15% from the current levels over the next 12 to 15 years. So this is I would say clearly one stock. And then you should look at, say, some of the defense names, whether these are like the likes of, say, Hindustan Aeronautics or BEL, because they have seen some correction from the recent highs. And some of these defense names, they have got strong order books. The new contracts that continue to flow in. Yes, can they grow very fast? Maybe not, but again, a very, very, I think, steady set of stocks. And I believe these stocks will also give you compounding returns even from the current levels.
Okay, those were some trading ideas. I mean, some investing ideas for 2026 that Amnish likes. Amnish, a quick word on Kajaria Ceramics. We will get greater clarity at 11 o'clock when they hold the press conference. But the fraud risk, the fraud case is clearly a headline risk today. So, so how would you approach it in terms of the internal controls, the impact on the financials? What is your initial verdict?
Incidents that happened earlier in the ceramics and tiles industry. This is not the first time. And even in some of the industry, we have seen such kind of risks which have been there in the past. But a lot depends upon how the company handles it. That is one. And secondly, what sort of systems and processes changes which happen otherwise. Now, if the risk is not that much, if the fallout can, I think this is only passing phase. Because I think going by the size of the company, it is not much which is going to like which their balance sheet company. So, for a period of time, I think it also requires that the system and processes in the company they need to be improved. So some kind of you can say the initial impact then that could be there. But I think over a period of time, if it is managed, then it will be just an event to pass.
Okay. All right. Amnish, thanks very much for being with us today and giving us those stock ideas.